Hey, what's up, you guys? Rasathi here in Singapore. Oh man, getting ready for school, wrapping up loose ends on business, trying to quietly wind down 2019 because I know there is so much more coming in 2020 and I can't wait. So, I wanted to jump on here today because I have been stuck behind a computer for a couple days actually, working on updating the podcast, making sure that everything is in its rightful place, that everything is working. I found out, oh my God, I found out that my email wasn't working from my website. And I was like, oh my God, how do I fix this? Because I set that up like eons ago, right? And now I got to go back and figure out how to rejig it. Anyway, so all that's sorted. I want to come back on here today because I was just on the couch with baby girl. We were watching, what's it called? The Rise of the Guardians. It's a cartoon and I loved it. It's about Jack Frost and all the other guardians of childhood, basically, and the bad guy happens to be Pitch Black, which is the boogeyman, and he's trying to get people to stop believing in the Guardians because he wants to be believed in as well, right? So I kind of feel like there's like a really big parallel there for all of us, especially those of us who are looking to do new things, bigger things, different things, start our own businesses, change the way things have been done from before. Like a lot of things are going on 2020 with this recent solar eclipse, all that stuff, that energy is changing. So people are trying to do a little differently. And I feel like all we want is for someone to believe in us. And that's part of what I teach. I want to conquer fear. I want to teach people how to love and be compassionate to themselves and to other people as well, but to yourself first, because if you can't love yourself, how will you love anybody else? But in that same token, we want people to believe in us, because we feel better when other people believe in us, but a lot of times what we really need is for us to believe in ourselves. Now, the reason I entitled this episode, There Will Always Be Fears, because that's true. In measure, okay? Your fear should not be the biggest thing about your belief system. It shouldn't be based on fear. It should be based on love and compassion, and it should be based on this belief that you can make a difference. But in order to really believe that you can make a difference, you have to face the fear. Now, I've had to do it recently as well. There are a lot of big dreams that I have, and I recently did a post on Instagram where I was like, you know what? I am not about to be on my deathbed and have all of my dreams stand around me looking at me like I'm the ghost of Christmas past or whatever, and telling me that, hey, you know what? You had a chance to birth me and you didn't. You were too afraid. I don't want that. But more than that, I realize that fear will always be a part of our lives. Hi, Cookie. Thank you so much for joining. So fear will always be a part of our lives. It just depends on how much importance we give it, how much attention we give it. And unfortunately, for most of us, it is a really bad habit for us to focus on the fear and forget all the other things around us that are telling us, hey, you could do this. You could do this. You have everything you need. Case in point, I have a couple of emails I really need to send out today. Things that I've been sitting on for the last year. I've had this idea for like a year now. It's been incubating, right? It hasn't gotten any bigger. It's just as big as it was when I first had the idea, but I haven't done anything about it. And it's been sitting there. And I want to do this before anybody else does it. I want to do this part of my business. And I'm not going to tell you what it is because I want to tell you after I've done it, right? So I want to send these emails out, and no matter how big or small, how crazy the idea is, I know that if I don't send that email out today, it's going to sit for another year. And next year I'm going to sit at the end of my whole 2020 and look back and be like, all right, well, what did I accomplish and what didn't I? And I don't want this to be on the list of things I still have not done. To be honest, it took me 10 years to start a t-shirt line, but I did it. Most of it was because I wasn't sure I could, and I was surrounded by people who didn't believe I could. And instead of believing in myself and doing it anyway, I listened to those people. I let that negativity and I let more of their fear compound my fear. And then suddenly that's all there was. It was this rinky-dink stupid idea. But you know what? This year it generated me some revenue, and I need to continue with that. There will always be fear. There will always be someone to tell you that, you're not doing it right. You didn't do it at all. It was the stupidest idea. Why did you even venture out in that direction? I had a conversation today. A friend of mine called in from San Diego, and we had a lovely catch-up kind of conversation. But she and we talk on a different wavelength. We're the kind of people that we can talk existentialism. We can talk spirituality, shamanism. We can talk all of that. And we can do girlfriend talk too. We can talk about the guys in our lives and the mistakes we make and all of those things. But we had a conversation where I knew Spirit was driving me to tell her something, but I also knew that Spirit wanted me to hear what I was saying too. Basically, it came down to this. She was afraid of reaching out to somebody because what if they shoot her down? What if they poke her theory full of holes? What if somebody says something that isn't supportive or positive? And the thing I told her next, was exactly what I needed to hear, exactly what she needed to hear. I had to say it out loud. Name me one thing on this 3D earth that somebody won't talk shit about. If I cook and I love the way I cook and my family loves the way I cook, guaranteed somebody will come into my house and say, you know what, I didn't like that, it gave me diarrhea. Okay then. I know that if I make a birthday card for somebody and it's specific to a particular person, but they have family members around them, somebody in that circle is not going to like what I did. I know that if I sing today and I like the way I sang and the person I was singing to liked the way I sang, let's say I put it on Instagram. I've done it before. I put it on Instagram where I sang, but my face wasn't in it because I was too scared and nervous, but I sang anyway and I got feedback. And not all of it was great. The point is, I am not for everybody. But there are people out there looking for someone like me. And if I don't show up because I'm afraid that the majority won't like me, the few people that are desperate for someone to connect with will not find me either. And I cannot live with that on my conscience. I know, as random as it seemed back in the day, that that one kind voice, that one genuine smile, that little moment of eye contact that I had saved my life on multiple occasions. Back when I didn't think I mattered, back when I didn't think anyone could see me, that was worse than a wallflower, that I was not even a shadow of an idea. I know back then that if those random people hadn't showed up the way they did, and maybe it took all they had to smile at me that day, but it saved my life. And I will never take that for granted again. I remember Christmases where I was waiting for my check to clear in the bank so I had money to buy groceries, and sometimes I would do this thing where I would go to the grocery store and put things in my cart anyway, and back then it took a couple days for the debit to catch up with the credit and all that shit, and so I would charge it to my account and I would be able to get home with the groceries before my check hit and cleared into my account. And it worked sometimes and sometimes it didn't, and I remember that day. There was one day I had a shopping cart, not a basket, a shopping cart full of food and decorations and school supplies, and I went to the counter and it was about $200, and I knew if my check had cleared in that moment that the thing, the card hit the register or whatever, that I would be okay. But it was a gamble. It was a 50-50 gamble. But it was stuff I needed, and it didn't clear, and I couldn't have felt more like shit. But in that moment, someone was feeling the spirit, and someone behind me decided, you know what, I'm not going to let you disappoint those kids, and I'm not going to let you go hungry. I'm going to step up and pay for your groceries. I will never forget that. Trust me, I won't, because I never told my husband about this, but I will never forget that day. The kids were with me. Aaron and Leah were with me. It was before I had Athena. And they were so worried because they've seen it happen before, where I just had to leave the cart where it was and walk back out that door. And this person rescued me. They rescued me. And that year, I will never forget. And ever since, I will do everything I can to save people along the way. Because what I have to give may not be monetary in value, but it may mean something to your life. I remember recently I was on shoot with a young lady, and she was such a beautiful light, and she was gorgeous, this dark skin, clear, radiant smile, just beautiful. And she came to be my an actor on screen with me, and it was beautiful, right? I'd never met her before, and I was nervous because she spoke beautifully and I was still struggling with my lines, and I figured, you know what, I'm nervous, I would really love it if we could run lines real quick, do you mind? And she said, yeah, of course, I would really love that. And we sat together and we ran lines and we joked a little bit, and I got to know her. And it wasn't until the end of the shoot where she reached back and she said, can I get your number? I was like, absolutely, yeah, let's keep in touch. And when she got home, she sent me a message and she said, you know what, I felt like hell today and I did not want to come to the shoot, but I know this is a good way to make extra money, so I came. And even then I felt some kind of way in my spirit, and I hated it. And I was afraid to do those lines, and I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to deliver. And I thank you for being so kind and running lines with me. And I said, come on, no, that's nothing. I was feeling some kind of way myself, and I felt weird, and I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to deliver the way I could. And I was grateful that you agreed, and we helped each other. What are you talking about? She said, no, you don't understand. One of my closest friends, I just found out minutes before I stepped foot on location, I found out they had committed suicide. And I wasn't sure I could play the part, and I wasn't sure I could deliver the lines because my heart was just not there. And you were able in that moment to help me forget what was going on in my real life and help me step into the character and just enjoy the moment that I had, that presence. You helped. And I realized that everyone has that capacity. The fear will always be there. The fear will always be there for all of us in varying degrees, for varying reasons. Sometimes you need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and figure it out. Sometimes you have help. Sometimes if you're brave enough to tell the universe, hey, you know what? I'm afraid and I could use a little support. You will get those messages. You will get those people in your life that happen to cross your path and make you smile for a moment. Today, when I told my friend, name one thing in the world that someone won't talk shit about, it was exactly what I needed because I was afraid. I had just gotten off the phone with my brother and he was like, you got a list of things to do. What are you going to knock out first? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And then you know what? I got off the phone and I was like, I'll do it later. And suddenly this young lady calls me and she was like, you know what? We need to catch up. I haven't talked to you in so long and I need you today. Now, I'm not bragging, but I'm going to tell you this woman is phenomenal. She is a real healer. She has healed celebrities. She's healed regular people. She does this all the time, and it's something that's easy and comes naturally to her, so she takes it for granted. But I'm telling you, when she reached out to me and she said, I need you, I was like, what? You need me for what? Who am I? I ain't nobody. She called me and we spoke. And every time I feel important and I feel great and I feel really in tune with spirit. So when I say something to her, it's exactly what she needed to hear because I am an instrument when I am on the phone with her. I am exactly what spirit needs to deliver the message that she needs to hear that she's been avoiding all this time. And so I had a couple messages for her, but that one that stood out to me because it was a message for me too is, yeah, the fear will be there. But you have this idea for a reason. You have this notion to do something for a reason. You have this urge to do something for a reason. And if you were to give in to the fear and let the fear speak for you, what will you not get done? What will you avoid? What dream will die with you? Because it was never born, it was never hatched, it was never shared with the world. Now, what she's working on, major. I'm not going to reveal because I'm so excited. I want her to tell you. It's not my story to tell, but I'm telling you right now, what she wants to get done is beautiful. Like beyond what I could explain. And I really, really hope that she takes that courage I've given her and takes that validation. Hey, you know what? People are going to talk shit regardless. You better get your work done. And she calls the person she needs to call and she speaks to the person that she needs to speak to. And she gets all this work done because that dream will help so many others. So right now we're staring down the barrel at New Year. People are looking at, okay, well, what did I accomplish this year? Really? She was worried that, you know what, I can't afford to take a break because I'm tired, but I haven't really done anything. How can I be tired today? And I said, look, it's not about the things you did today that you're tired of. It's about the amount of energy you've put out into the universe this year. And so you take your rest where you can get it. And when you're refreshed in the morning, you get up and you get back on that horse and you do what you got to do. The fear will always be there. But that's no excuse to let it stop you. The fear is meant to be there because without the fear, you don't have courage. It's not courageous to do something you're afraid of if the fear isn't always there. It's always there, nagging you in the back of your mind. When I get on stage to perform and I know the dance by heart, I could do it in my sleep, whether there's an audience or not. But if I don't get on that stage and have butterflies, I know something's wrong. I need those butterflies. I need that measure of, I don't know, can I? Maybe, I don't know. I don't want to be cocky. I want to make sure I give a great performance, but I need to feel it in that moment too. Same thing when I get on screen. I don't like the look of my face, y'all. I don't like the sound of my voice. I'm getting used to it. I'm getting over it because if I don't like those things and I decide not to do what I'm doing, I still won't reach the people I need to reach. I have a purpose here on this earth. I have a mission to accomplish. My job is to build the tribe. My job is to rally y'all together. Because together, united, no one can stop us. They have no choice but to listen. I have a message. I have love to give. You either want it or you don't. And if you don't, that's cool. It gives me space to attract one more person that might need it. So as I go around here spreading love all willy-nilly, as I go out here and be my kind of light the only way I know how, not all of y'all are going to want that, and that's okay. But I can't be afraid of the ones who don't want it. I can't be focused on the ones who don't want it. Then my message gets distorted. I got to be focused on the ones who need it. And a lot of y'all look like I did a couple years ago. I will not let fear dictate my life. I will not let the fear of not having the money, not having the power, not having the certification, not being loud enough, pretty enough, beautiful enough, light-skinned enough, dark enough, not being Indian-looking enough, not speaking Sri Lankan Tamil versus Singaporean Tamil, whatever. I'm not letting that shit stop me. Not having an intro to my podcast, yawning throughout, worried about who's gonna say what about me. I'm not gonna let that stop me. I am an instrument in this world. I am an empath. I am proud of who I am and everything that I've fucking survived so far. I got nothing to worry about. But I do. Because the fear is always there. And I'm telling you, I'm going to do it regardless. With the fear in my belly. Because it will keep me honest. So many people out there tooting their own horn and talking about how great they are. And some of them are really great, and some of them are trying to project until they get there. That's cool too. I've done that before. And some of them have no idea what they're talking about, but they're doing it anyway. How am I supposed to compete with that noise? I don't know. But I'm going to be me. The best way I know how. And I know that I am enough because usually when I speak to you one-on-one, I leave an impression. Usually a good one. Let's face it. I'm the hero of my story. I got to be the bad guy in somebody's, but I own that too. I am who you need me to be so you can move to that next level. So I'm not going to change nothing about me. I'm not going to censor myself. I'm not going to put up a mask. I'm not going to mold myself into something else that I think you need. I'm just going to be me. And I will be who you need. If you need to be mad at me to get on with your life, be mad at me. If you need to hate me because you think I got it easy, be mad at me. Hate me. Do what you got to do. I'm going to move and shake and ask questions. Tatigapan. But I will be there. I will show up. And regardless of the fear in your belly, I hope you show up too. The world needs you. I may not be everyone's cup of tea. I guarantee you I'm somebody's shot of whiskey. And I'm okay with that. Every night I go to bed proud of what I've done. Every night I'm happy with the amount of energy I put out. Okay, that's a lie. Sometimes I'm not. I know I could have done more. But I was who I needed to be that day. I did what I needed to do that day. For me. And that is good enough. So if you take nothing else from this podcast episode, understand this. The fear will always be there. Nagging at the back of your mind. Popping up in all the worst possible instances. But I know for me, without that fear, this wouldn't matter as much. And I want it to matter. I need it to matter to me. So I continue doing what I need to do. I love you guys. And I'll catch you again soon. Bye.